Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Rob here. I've got another awesome interview lined up for you guys today. I had the honor and privilege of interviewing Scott Everson of the YouTube channel Carnivore Lion and Annabel Smithson. If you're not familiar with her, well, you should be because yours truly was actually interviewed on her channel about a month ago. So you definitely want to check that out if you haven't, and I'll put that link in the show description. And Pim Jansen, who I actually interviewed a little over a week ago. We talked about carb addiction and food addiction. And it was a really compelling interview. If you haven't checked that out, then definitely do that. But anyway, these very talented individuals have teamed up and formed something called the Limbic System Community. And they're offering a very, very unique program for those that might be suffering from certain chronic illnesses and how it relates to the limbic system. They explain it so much better than I could, so I'm going to get right to the interview. It's compelling information, and some of the stories that you're going to hear are just amazing. And I'm just kind of blown away by the work that these three are doing, and I'm just super honored to be a part of it. And I might even be pitching in as a guest coach within the program as well. So I'm super excited about that. But anyway, I'm going to get right to the interview because this is one you don't want to miss. I think you're going to be very, very intrigued and interested in what these three very talented people are doing and why you want to be a part of it. So subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that little thumbs up guy, leave a comment. It goes a long way to helping me push this channel out there and growing it to like-minded individuals that might find this sort of information beneficial to their livelihoods and lifestyles. So please do that, but I'm not going to waste any more time. I want to get right to this interview that I had with Scott Everson and Annabel Smithson. Enjoy. All right, everybody. As promised, I've got two very, very special guests. I have Scott Everson. He is known as the Carnivore Lion. If you're not a subscriber to his channel, then you're just wrong. So I'll have everything, obviously, in the show description below, but you need to subscribe to his channel. It's excellent. And of course, you all know Annabel Smithson. I was on her show, and I told everybody that you had to watch. So if you didn't, shame on you. So please support these two. And in fact, you're going to have to support these two because that's the reason we're here today, is because they have this super exciting new project. And actually, in my last interview I did with Pim Jansen, or Jansen, I'm still not sure which one it is.
It's definitely not Pam Johnson.
It's not Pam Johnson.
It's not Johnson now.
Yeah. Me and Bart joked a lot about that. But it's not Pam Johnson. It's Pim Jansen or Jansen, depending on what neck of the woods you're from. But these three are putting together this awesome community called the Limbic System Community. And it sounded so damn cool that we had to get these guys on to explain it. And I'm not going to talk much. I know that's strange, but I'm going to try to keep my trap shut and let these two brilliant people talk about what they're doing, because I assure you, many of you out there are going to be highly interested in what these two, or actually what these three folks are going to do in this awesome community. So I'll shut up now. And so Annabel, Scott, why don't you tell the folks what you guys are doing and why they should be interested?
I'll give the floor to Scott since he is the founder of this community.
The founder.
Oh, we've got the main guy here. That's
cool. Oh yeah. Well, hey, I had to fly in on my private jet. It took a lot to get me here for sure. I started this community for really for a lot of different reasons. I think there's really something lacking in the space. I just like Pim, just like Annabelle, have gone through a lot of chronic health issues over the last bunch of years. Now, you may not be able to tell by looking at me. I used to be a bodybuilder. I actually have a fitness business. That's my main job. And I had a little fitness studio in Toronto. And I got really sick with a lot of different issues from psychotropic drug withdrawals. I sort of had like nervous system damage where I wasn't able to work out anymore. I started developing like severe gut health issues, all sorts of just terrible issues with that. And just every symptom you could imagine that goes along with it. I'm sure you guys have heard about the Jordan Peterson Seeing as how we are sort of in the carnivore space, I think a lot of people have heard about Jordan Peterson here. So you take his situation, but just like prolong it times like 2. If you guys heard about his benzo withdrawal situation.
Yeah, he had akathisia. It was so dangerous.
Yeah, and that was me. I couldn't stop moving for like a year. I had to pace around my house and literally just tearing my hair out, just feeling like someone was holding a gun to my head every day. So the furthest thing from my mind was going on a carnivore diet or working out or anything like that. And I eventually learned that over time I just wasn't really getting better. And I kept working on my gut health issues because I would see these practitioners and, they would charge me an arm and a leg, literally, thousands and thousands of dollars to go on all these protocols, take these supplements, take these drugs, do this, do that, hop on one arm, hop on one leg, spin this around on one hand. And nothing ever worked. And the missing component to it for me was I never worked on this. And there's a gut-brain connection, and you can't really heal one without the other, to be perfectly honest with you. You're not going to heal your gut. Some people do manage to get better to some degree, but if you have really terrible gut health, you're not going to fix it if you're in that fight or flight mode every single day, every moment of your life. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of mechanisms behind that, right? So first off, if you're constantly in a fight or flight mode, obviously you're going to be constantly dealing with a lot of inflammation. So you're releasing sort of a lot of sort of inflammatory hormones and that release these sort of inflammatory cytokines and stuff. So you're going to have impaired digestion. You're not going to be able to digest your food because obviously you've heard of rest and digest. You're going to have low stomach acid. Your stomach enzymes aren't going to function, aren't going to be able to digest food properly. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and it impairs your vagus nerve. And when I first got introduced to this idea that I need to calm my nervous system down to heal my gut, it just clicked in me, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And at first I started doing these hacks. So I would sort of do deep diaphragm breathing before meals and just these little things. And I started to notice a difference for sure. I'm like, okay, now I'm able to finally digest red meat, and I could actually digest my food. And then I started getting into journaling and affirmations and types of emotional exercises that would actually work on retraining my brain and sort of pruning away these negative neural pathways and replacing them with ones towards healing. So when I started employing those different modalities of healing, and there's a lot of lifestyle stuff in there as well, and diet and everything else, but it wasn't until I started doing all these little things with retraining my brain that I really started to see a huge difference in just my inflammation started going down. I started my neurological symptoms started getting better one by one. Now I still have bad days because I do have detox issues and stuff that I'm going through, as Annabel could attest to speaking to me yesterday. I was in a very good mood, but that doesn't mean to say that I'm not on such a great trajectory right now. I'm just really seeing the benefits of this. So that's why I want to start this community, because I really feel especially in the gut health space and the psychotropic drug withdrawal space where I'm coming from, everybody's looking for pills. Everybody's looking for, quick fixes or protocols or supplements or diets, but no one's working on their brain, and working on retraining their brain to fix their gut. And so that's why I sort of contacted Annabel about it. I brought the idea to her, and we really wanted to get people on board that we felt are really good coaches, honest people, because in this space, I'll be perfectly honest with you, you encounter a lot of snake oil salesmen.
No. Really?
Yeah. You might not believe it, but you encounter a lot of snake oil salesmen.
Shocker.
People are just trying to sell you stuff and everything. And look, I'm not trying to say that, we're not going to be making any money on this. It's not like that. Obviously, everyone wants to make money. But I really believe that we built a team here of people who really care, people who really believe in this. It's not just, some woo-woo thing. If you really look into the science of it, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, I'm just excited to be part of a healing community where we're all working on healing together and building these really healthy routines in our lives, right?
Oh,
So
outstanding, outstanding.
yeah.
And
Sorry, I'm talking your ear off, so I'm going to
oh,
let
no, no,
you
no, no,
guys to
no.
take it away.
That's why you're here. You don't want to hear me talk because you guys have all this info. And let me just interject one thing. And in all seriousness, what Scott said about the community, people out there, there's a lot of charlatans out there. I talk often about, the zealots out there and the dogma out there. These two people I know are legit. They're in it for the right reasons. They're very sincere. They're very intelligent. And I wouldn't have them on here and I wouldn't be promoting this if I didn't know for an absolute fact that these guys are the real deal. So I just wanted to interject that because it's hard to find people in this space anymore, but for some, it's all about clicks and follows and selling things and making a profit. We all have to make money. I mean, I have to feed my kid, but at the same time, you can do it for the right reasons. And you guys are doing that. So it's such a cool thing that you're doing. So anyway, please continue.
So
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, just to like sort of, sum up what I was saying there, because I really have a roundabout way of speaking to things, and I tend to put people to sleep. Really, what it's all about is just calming your nervous system down and taking out of that fight or flight mode and putting you into healing mode, right? So we're just trying to calm your nervous system down as much as you can, reduce inflammation. It's really as simple as that, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not rocket science. And it basically just consists of emotional exercises. And these emotional exercises are so healing for so many different types of chronic health issues, whether it be pain conditions, SIBO, all sorts of different digestive conditions, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple chemical sensitivity. The list just goes on and on. So I've had so many people reach out saying that they've tried this, whether it be through other programs, like there's Dynamic Neural Retraining System and Gupta program, which are probably the most famous. And people are just seeing amazing results from this. And the success stories are just piling up. So we really want to make this a comprehensive community, not just about brain retraining. We want to add so many different healing modalities, working on circadian rhythm, working on other, just, bringing joy back to your life, grounding, making sure that you're getting good sources of food. And I think people are so confused about diet. And I'll just say this isn't a carnivore community. That's where I think a lot of people are coming into this. Well, I'm not carnivore. Can I join? I'm like, but this isn't a carnivore. I'm not even strict carnivore, right? Like I was just eating white rice. Like, sorry, I eat rice, guys.
No, damn it. All right. This interview's over.
But if you could tell how skinny I am, I need to eat a little bit of carbs to put some weight back on.
But if you look into my background, you're going to see that, I believe that if something is working for you, then it's working for you. You should continue down that path.
Yeah.
And there are some clients of mine who, I actually recommend and encourage the intervention of some carbohydrate matter in certain types and certain quantities for certain effects. And, you're not going to get that level of, oh, you're not in the club, then, everybody out. Let's end this party now. We're going to tear up your card. I mean, I'm the last person that's going to judge you for anything if it's working for you, because I don't think you're going to go into a coma and die because you had some rice earlier today. So I want to get that out of the way.
Well, that's a thing, right? So it's kind of ironic because my YouTube channel is called The Carnivore Lion, and I made that channel to detail my experience going on the carnivore diet. I did it strict for almost a year and a half. But the problem is that I just wasn't able to put weight back on with it because I just couldn't eat as much meat as I needed to put the weight back on.
Right.
And I got, just to detail how sick I've been over the years, when I was in my top form, when I was really into bodybuilding, I was 192 pounds is what I peaked out at.
Wow.
And at my lowest, I got down to 114 pounds.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So,
I didn't realize it got that deep.
So when I got down to
Amazing.
100, when I got down to 114 pounds, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start putting some rice in because I can't get enough meat in to
Right,
keep my
right.
weight up.
Totally cool. So,
Yeah.
so what's Annabelle doing here? What's her role
So,
in all this?
Yeah. What are you doing here, Annabelle?
well, so basically, I will be coaching on some of the things, especially like Scott was talking about the more practical things. So you brought the grounding, some of the nutrition aspects. Also, I've got experience in other training and therapy methods. So things like cognitive behavioral therapy, to name just one, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. So these therapy models. And so using those, from talking from my own personal experience, so although I'm young, 24, I've been through a hell of a lot. So obviously we will have our own childhood traumas, but that aside, I was at my happiest and healthiest when I was 19, 20. And then when 2020 happened, I actually ended up getting PTSD. And I didn't realize I had PTSD until I began to put my symptoms together with other things that I was, reading and researching. And I realized, okay, I have PTSD symptoms, but how is that possible? I've never been in a war. I haven't had anything that dramatic happen to me. And yet here I am, 4 or 5 times a day having flashbacks, and afterwards just getting so exhausted that all I could do was just wanting to sleep. I mean, it was completely draining having these episodes every single day and multiple times a day. And then actually the carnivore diet, luckily I was already kind of discovering the carnivore diet around this time. So I thought, okay, you know what, I really need to heal. I need to take time. So at this point I was so fatigued I couldn't even train anymore. And I was devastated. Combine that with everything that was going on and the extreme loneliness and isolation, it was just a horrible time. So the carnivore diet to a large extent did save my life and save me. It brought back my menstrual cycle. It reduced the episodes to once a day, then a few times a week, then maybe once a week, then a few times a month. And now it's been, I think, a year or just over a year that I have not had one single episode, which has been incredible. And, for someone who has had like a relatively normal childhood and, been to private school and boarding school and, just had like a nice life, to actually suddenly have something like PTSD, it just sounds really over dramatic and almost unbelievable. But there you go, it happened, and it could happen to anyone. It just kind of piles up, and the brain and body really do go into shock when something happens that can tip it over the edge, and you don't know what that's going to be for you. So that was it for me. And I didn't really realize that. So before that, I had been working a lot on my brain and psychology, funnily enough, constantly doing things like affirmations, visualizations, meditation. It was a huge part of my lifestyle. And then when I did get PTSD, I couldn't anymore. The reminders and memories were too painful of what my life was like before. And I just wanted to stop with any of the self-development because I hated the way I was. I hated myself. I didn't want to be here anymore. So I thought, why am I going to go on with the self-development stuff when I don't even want to be here? Like, this is so pointless, and felt like the world was ending anyway with everything going on and people had, lost their minds. So I just kind of gave up on life and humanity. But then slowly, as the symptoms reduced, things started to get better. I just wasn't the same person anymore. And then in the summer of 2023, so just now, around August, September, I was exposed to toxic black mold. And it was only for about 3 weeks to a month, but it was severe enough that it caused a significant impact on my body. And I think it's because my brain was already in a slightly weakened state with previously having had PTSD. So I tried everything I got out of the environment, but I was under the response where constantly everything was irritating me. I couldn't breathe. It just felt like everything around me was toxic. And I just thought, I can't catch a break at this point. And when you're exposed to black mold, it does, well, for me at least, it did change my brain even more significantly. It had just become so damaged, and I was swollen. I was constantly under inflammation no matter what I was eating, even if I was fasting. I was so depressed because I think this was actually worse than the PTSD to some respects. And I messaged Scott and I said, I don't know what to do. I've been exposed to black mold and I'm out of the environment, but I'm not healing. And then he said, you need to retrain your limbic system. You need to rewire it right now. It's urgent. And then I looked into that, and I learned as much as I could, and I started to apply it. And I did have a lot of resistance in the beginning to applying it, because it was this, same block about, I just don't want to work on my mentality. I can't do this anymore. But now slowly, I feel like I'm starting to get back to who I was, but even better, because now I've got the experiences, I've learned so much more, and I truly know how to help people. I've been able to help myself through something so dark that I didn't even think I'd come out of it. But here we are. So the limbic system rewiring and the gut-brain connection is massive. But most importantly, I've just recently moved back to the UK to help a friend of mine who's a regenerative farmer. And while I was in Estonia, because I was alone, I found it very difficult to heal. And the resistance was actually a lot stronger out there, because I didn't have a community around me. I felt like I didn't have as much purpose and meaning in my life. And now, helping out on a farm and really adding value, that has made the biggest impact, which is why this community is so important to me, because you can't heal alone. I don't believe you can. I don't think anybody's an island, and we all need at least someone to speak to. And as Scott said, this is not easy. The exercises might be easy, but it's the psychology. There is going to be resistance. And this is what we're here for, is to get you over those hurdles. Because even Scott and I, we're there for each other every single day, and we need to be, because even though we've come such a long way in our own journeys, it's not easy. And not, not every single day is the same. And sometimes you might have detox, you might have die off, you might feel like you're getting worse, even though you're getting better. And so it's kind of like to help people understand what the symptoms are, what's actually happening in their brain, how they can get around things, what they can do to, make them understand they are not alone in this, and they can heal, and they will heal, and anything is possible. Because I always used to say that to myself. I always used to say, you can do anything, and have these vision boards and see myself as a multi-millionaire. And I did believe it, but it's harder to believe that after you've been through what I've been through. But now, if I'm able to believe, and actually not even just believe, but achieve, then that means anybody can. And that's why Scott and I are here.
Outstanding. Great story. Wow. That's
Thank
powerful.
you.
Can I just
Powerful.
interject something in there as well?
Yeah, Scott, that's why you're here.
Just a couple of things. Sorry, Rob, to cut you off. I've
No.
taken over the podcast.
Go for
It's
it.
all yours. Thank God. My viewers are like, thank the Lord.
Okay.
So we found somebody that can shut him up.
It's funny, so speaking to mold toxicity, and I really have to say, Annabel, when I introduced Annabel to this, most people are very apprehensive. They think it's a bit woo-woo. They think it's kind of just like, just, I don't know, just kind of quack talk kind of thing. But when I introduced her to this, I've never seen somebody embrace it so much. Like, she went from like 0 to 100, and she really went at this as crazy as she could. And I saw it was like night and day, maybe just a matter of weeks later. Wow. It was crazy. When I first started doing DNRS, which is Dynamic Neural Retraining System, that's a Limbic System program that's online. It's probably the most famous one. It's run by Annie Hopper. And in one of the modules, she talks about how I think they hooked up people. I'm not sure if it was like the MRI machine or whatever it was, but they hooked up people with mold toxicity. They hooked up their brains so they could see what lights up different parts of the brain. And they showed them pictures of mold. Okay, this is just pictures of mold. And it lit up whatever sort of like fear areas in their brain. I'm no scientist, but it really stuck in my head. Just showing them pictures created fear for them, right?
Wow.
So you'll see how that is like the perfect definition of a limbic system injury, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I had. And also, sorry, just to very quickly say, when I was living in London, I was living like a celebrity. I had everything I wanted. I was in the best shape of my life. I had literally anything I wanted on tap. Personal trainer, going to one of the best gyms, living in one of the best, most luxury apartments, like, with people who were celebrities, who were on reality TVs here in the UK. Like, I had it all. And when I got PTSD, when, all of these things happened in 2020, I lost everything, and it literally felt like I'd hit rock bottom. And when you go up so high and fall to that kind of level of low, it really impacts you. But what I'm trying to say is that at that stage of my life, when I was, you know, kind of subconsciously doing all of this stuff, like the visualizations, the manifestation, it was happening for me, but then I stopped. And now with the limbic stuff, this is exactly the same, but just applying it to a chronic illness situation. And Scott was talking earlier about the gut-brain connection, and it's actually the brain that decides whether your gut junctions are going to stay leaky or not. And so, you know, when you take that into consideration, that's how impactful it is, because our cells regenerate very quickly. Our intestine can, you know, regrow in a matter of days, but what is keeping it in that state is you and your brain and your mindset. And so you can change it very quickly, but you know, these things, they do take time, just because the psychology does need to be rewired, and that's the thing that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And obviously just speaking to the gut issues as well, like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's a vicious cycle, right? So you are in a constantly stressful state, you know, you're going to be constantly releasing like cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, you know, and again, you're going to have these sort of like, you know, inflammatory cytokines being released. And so your stomach, your stomach lining is going to recede over time. You're not going to produce as much stomach acid. You're probably going to develop these different types of overgrowth, like SIBO. Seems like everybody has SIBO now.
Yep.
And it's not just stress, but what I'm really trying to get at is like stress is such a huge factor in everyone's lives now, right? We're constantly under this, what is supposed to be acute stress. Like our stress is supposed to be running away from not dinosaurs, running away from tigers or bears or whatever, right? It's not supposed to be like sitting at an office all day being like, I hate my boss, my life sucks, my wife's nagging me all day, my in-laws are a bunch of assholes, you know. It's but people are under this stress every single day.
Right.
And the longer you're under this stress, the more you become like a broken tape recorder. And it's so hard to break out of that. It's so hard to break out of that negativity.
Yeah, because it is addictive, you know, negativity, the brain does find it addictive.
Exactly. And then that's when all the gut health issues start up. And then when the gut health issues start up, then your neurological problems are just amplified times 10. Because I could tell you, when my SIBO and everything and all that stuff was at its height, I couldn't function. Like it just, my anxiety, my depression, everything. I just wanted to call it quits. If it weren't for my kids, I don't even know if I would be here, because like that's the only reason why I stuck around. And it was actually, if you guys know of in the community, Ribeye Rachel. I don't know, Rob, if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
She was the one who introduced me to this. So I kind of like credit her for like saving my life, because I saw the success that she was having with it. And carnivore only took her so far. And she's like, why am I not healing? You know, and she found out it's because, because she'd been dealing with chronic illness for so long that she was constantly in this upregulated nervous system, you know, fight or flight state, that she just couldn't repair anything. It just, her detox pathways weren't working. Her vagus nerve, which is like your primary mediator for digestion, was completely impaired, you know. So it's just, you know, for me, like I said before, like it was as simple as just starting with an easy little hack, doing some deep diaphragm breathing for 10 minutes. Now that doesn't work on retraining your brain, but just doing like little things in conjunction with, you know, the brain retraining for calming your nervous system, over time, your nervous system just like, it's just like a very gradual process. It's like, okay, I'm safe a little bit. Okay, now I'm a little bit safer today. I'm a little bit safer the next day. I'm a little bit safer the next day. And it's like, eventually it just like gets it. It's like, okay, I'm safe. You don't need to be scared anymore, you know? And that's when you finally start to heal. And you can't heal if you're chronically stressed out like that. It's just impossible, you know? So that's why people are like, I can't ever get rid of my pain condition, because they're not working on this. You know, they're always just trying to fix it with drugs or whatever. And that shit just doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work for anyone.
That's
anyway. Sorry, Rob. Do you have any questions for us at all?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking.
No, I'm just fascinated by it, and my questions are very simple, because, and I want to keep it brief because I want you to explain. So for my listeners, my viewers, who is a candidate in your mind, especially for what you have to offer? And beyond that, this is a community. How can they be a part of the community? What can they expect from this community? How does it work? What are the specifics, you know? And then there's, from my understanding, going to be some coaching involved as well. Can you kind of explain the nuts and bolts of how it works? And again, prior to that, who would be a candidate for something like this? Who would be the ideal candidate for something like this?
Well, I'll briefly answer the candidate question so that Scott can answer, go more into more detail for that, and then also into what the community entails. But for me, from my perspective, because I've had people ask me this a lot, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody with chronic illness. Obviously, these people are the prime candidates. Anybody who's had some kind of a trauma, whether that's psychological or physiological, so mold or any kind of toxicity or chronic illness or autoimmune condition. Even, for example, something like diabetes or blood sugar imbalances, these things can cause a certain amount of trauma onto the body. Also things like anxiety, depression, PTSD, but also those who are just looking for more, those who want to become happier, want to see what else they can do, those who want to focus more on retraining their brain, even if you're already like at a certain level, you just want to take yourself further, because you'll learn a lot. And for those who want to become happier and more grateful people, that would be my answer, as well as the chronically ill.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
There's a lot of different conditions. I think anyone who's been especially dealing with chronic illness for a long time,
and I think there's going to be people out there that I've come across, and I spoke about this with Pim to some degree, where they do a dietary intervention like carnivore or something like that, expecting it to cure everything. They'll watch Michaela Peterson and think, oh, she just ate meat and drank water, and then everything went away and she became this perfect, beautiful woman. So that's going to happen to me. So they go down that road, and certain things are alleviated clearly, but then they may wonder why it's not taking them all the way, and they still have issues, still have conditions. And this may be part of the big picture that maybe they hadn't considered. So I think there's going to be a lot of aha moments for people watching this. So I think you're kind of connecting the dots to some degree, wouldn't you think?
Well, also with Michaela Peterson, it actually seems like she is a SIRS candidate. She might have chronic inflammatory response syndrome caused by mold. She's been in black mold. She's been, I think, working with nutrition with Judy, from what I saw on her podcast. And so her nervous system is under this kind of chronic fight or flight, because she has been stuck on this way of eating for a long time, and it's managed to keep things under control, but not necessarily take her to that level of healing that she needs. And of course, again, here we have got the gut-brain connection.
Right.
And actually, a lot of people in SIRS healing programs, they do employ a lot of limbic training in there as well. So it's just another condition. I think there's no condition that this, I'm not saying it's the fix all for everything. There's a lot, obviously there's a lot of complicated cases, and I do hate that like toxic positivity sometimes. And I was always that person. Maybe I was jealous, I don't know, but of all these people that would start carnivore and like 2 weeks later they're like, oh, all my issues went away, and I'm like, I'm lifting 200 pounds at the gym now, and it's like, it would always piss me off to some degree, because I'm like, man, I wish that worked for me like that, but yeah, I think that like I was saying, I think the more you've been chronically ill, the more you're going to turn into that broken tape recorder, and the longer it's going to take you to get out of it. So I think that's for people like me. I think it's just, this is where it's at. I think, there might be some other things you need to include with that in terms of changing your diet and lifestyle around. But this is definitely, I think, a good starting point for a lot of people who are chronically ill. So we're going to be launching this March 6th. Pim actually is going to be doing coaching first. I'm also going to be a coach, so dealing more with the meditation and visualization side, and Annabel is going to be doing more of the lifestyle and limbic training type stuff. And then we also have a fitness instructor. We're going to get guest speakers. We haven't asked Rob yet, but we're hoping Rob will be a guest speaker.
I'm in.
That would be awesome. And the kicker for all this is that everyone could join for free in March. So you just go to limbic-training.com, limbic-training.com. We actually have a name for this project now. It's called Wired for Healing. So you go to the sign up page and you could just enter your email and you get a free month.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
and it's 4 classes a week. As Scott said, one physical, so things like somatic movement, yoga, Pilates, because obviously learning how to functionally use the body, as you know, Rob, is very, very important and crucial.
Yes.
And then we've got us, so us three as coaches, the guest speakers, and from April onwards, it's $75 a month. And people will have,
unless you have an affiliate discount code, which
unless you have, yeah,
Rob
an
might
affiliate
be able to
discount.
offer you.
And then you'll have a community in terms of a chat, different groups, buddy up systems, and then also a constant homework, constant check-ins and feedback and constant access. And Bart K is actually going to be a partner in this, so he'll be on quite a lot and we'll have him around. So there are a lot of great people who are very influential, but also genuine people who have gone through things and have their stories and want to help and have got amazing experience. So it's a really valuable community to be part of. And you know, nutrition is important. We would never ever disregard that. It's one of the most crucial things. You have to get that right first, I believe. But this is just about more, you know, it's about all of the other doors that you can open as well as nutrition.
Wow, that's a lot to offer for very, very little money. That's very
Yeah.
impressive. That's awesome. So you guys are providing a spectacular service to people. So obviously all of these links will be in the show description and I'll, paste them all over all social media. Is there going to be any social media sites for this as well? Is it just going to be the website or what's going to be the main resource?
Well,
Well, good question. We are going to have a Discord, so it's just going to be
Okay,
exclusive for members.
great.
We're also going to have a Facebook group, so we're going to like part of this group. This might sound a little like, I don't know, corny or something, but we just want to bring like joy back to people's lives as well. So we're going to have like watch parties. We're just going to like watch funny movies together and listen to music or concerts or little things like that, you know. So we will have like a Facebook group for members as well, but I don't really think, I don't know. I'm all social media'd out, to be honest with you. I don't know if I
yeah, so
want
in
other social.
terms of, well, you can find us all. You can find Pim's YouTube channel and Instagram, mine, Scott. So we'll have a lot of information on there. We might eventually have something for this, but it kind of feels like we already do so much on our individual social media. So we're still kind of debating whether we are going to do that or not. So that's kind of where you'll find a lot of information. And we all share very, very different things. So it's not going to be repetitive if you follow all three of us, because we're all unique and we all come from things at a different angle and share different things. I mean, I share cows a lot and training, nutrition, and the practical stuff. Scott shares a lot. And, you know, we interview people, and Pim's got her own sugar and carb addiction coaching, and addiction is a massive part, like we spoke about. So you can find us all there, and then the website will be kind of the main resource for actually signing up and putting it all into action.
And that's active currently? That's active right now?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll definitely get everybody there ASAP for sure. We'll push this message hard. It's so cool to me. I mean, I think in this community, it's like there's the training, there's the nutrition, there's the recovery, there's this. This seems like this huge puzzle piece that's been missing for so many people. This whole resource can be so valuable for so many. It's like, man, I'm just honored to have you guys on and be a part of this. So I'd be happy to help any way I can, because again, you guys are providing a service that so many I think are going to be in need of. And you guys, man, this is just awesome. Hats off to you guys.
Thank you. I mean, we really want to grow this and try and make it, you know, big and valuable.
It needs
and
to.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I love having Annabelle on board. I mean, she's young, so people I feel like, you know, people sometimes might discount Annabelle a little bit because of her age. But I'll tell you, has to be one of the most intelligent, if not the most intelligent young person I've ever come across in my entire
Thanks.
life.
100%.
And
100%.
she really gets on board with things. Like if she believes in something, I've never seen someone embrace something like Annabelle does. And she just goes all in on it. Like I've never seen someone go like that. So I really think we have such an amazing team. And I think the most important thing is just I wanted to bring good people on board, and I could tell Rob is a great guy. I mean, we just met today, but you know, there's a lot of people in this space that, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like I said before, there's a lot of snake oil salesmen. There's a lot of people that you know, I've talked to you, and they might kind of come across as nice on camera, but they're kind of dicks behind the scene, and you know, I mean, the most important thing is just I would just want to do this with people that I actually like and people who are honest and I care about, and Rob, you seem like an awesome guy, so I'm just really honored to be on your channel, and
Oh
I
no.
have to. I've been watching your stuff, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool that you're in the bodybuilding space as well, and that you're promoting more of a ketogenic meat based diet. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and you
really
know,
cool.
you like you say, you're in the trenches and you work with real people, you see
Yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
I love that about you. You're so down to earth and you get results, you deliver, and you know, that's really important. If you're a coach, you actually have to deliver.
Well, and like you, Annabelle, I try to not let my youth and inexperience get in the way, you know, of that.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Rob?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, because bodybuilders and you know, I think you've watched Joey Schwartz's channel. Like he
Yeah.
does he does reaction
Sorry.
videos.
Yeah.
He does reaction videos to bodybuilders' diets, right?
Hmm.
And and I'll say this because I was really in that space before. Like I grew up on like Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding Bible and everything, and
Sure, sure.
you know, Frank Zane, you know, and all that stuff. But like the bodybuilder diet has to be the most atrocious diet
Yeah. Yeah.
on the planet. It's so bad.
Mhm.
Like, what's it like for you being in that space? Like, are you just, you must be mortified.
Well, it's been such a progression for me. It's like this division. It's like I've lived all these different lives. All through the 90s, I did the hardcore, crazy, high protein, high carb, 5,000 calories, 6,000 calories, train till you puke, you know, pills after pills after pills and supplements and all this stuff. And then I noticed I was falling apart and I wanted to be more well-rounded. For me, that community, as much as I loved the intense training aspect of it, it was always an experiment for me. And I wanted to see how far I could push myself. And I started to realize if I'm going to be a better coach and a better trainer, then I'd better be a little bit more well-rounded. So I tried to endeavor into other aspects of fitness and nutrition, all the while realizing that as much as I thought I was this fit, strong guy, I was absolutely falling apart, inflamed. I mean, I had issues with my knees and my hips in my late 20s where I couldn't even get out of bed for 20, 30 minutes. And I knew something had to change. That's when, you know, long story short, went paleo, ventured into keto. It just kept getting better and better and better. And then when you understand the physiology and you admit to yourself, you don't need to eat this way to achieve a peak physical form, even for competition. So, you know, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the experiment of it. And, you know, it's clear to me that you don't need, you know, 650 grams of carbohydrates or more a day to achieve, you know, a peak physical form. But nowadays, you know, I'm retired from that. I had this great, you know, moment that you can't take away from me, but I will still come on board and say it was not a healthy thing to do. I tried to have you know, to combine a healthy aspect to that lifestyle, but it still wasn't healthy. There were moments in time when I would be in a severe caloric deficit, engaging all these interventions to be as super, super lean as possible. And it was not a good thing for my body. And I realized when I retired, I'd better stop this now and focus more on performance and longevity and health. And so that's what I'm doing now. So I like to be sort of a consumer advocate to people out there that are taking this lifestyle too deep, the bodybuilding lifestyle that I'm no longer really in, but they try to take it too deep. And I'm working with a handful of competitors right now, and we're doing it with a very strict carnivore diet with small interventions of carbohydrates, as we discussed before, purely for aesthetic purposes, but trying to maintain and maximize health, getting blood work done and all these things. So, you know, it was a cool thing while I did it, but the writing was on the wall that I need to focus on health and longevity. So now it's, you know, not crazy over the top stuff anymore. I still train hard. I still eat very carnivore, but I'm not taking myself to those insanely extreme deficits to try to achieve 4.5% body fat, which I did. And it really, there was a time where you could have taken me to the emergency room around one of my contests that I did because I was so depleted and so malnourished. And that's just not a good place to be. So, I don't want to get off on a rant, but yeah, I
No,
I
mean,
will
I think it's
sorry.
fascinating.
I just wanted to put in a quick caveat. So with the whole social media side of things and the YouTube side, so even though, because we were just talking about, the different videos people have done on this stuff, I will just quickly say that even if it's not a healthy lifestyle, the people who have gone through this bodybuilding thing, like yourself, Rob, have to admit that they set their mind to something truly incredible and achieved it, even if it was hard and may have, destroyed some aspects of their health. They achieved something that they wanted to achieve. And people who sit there making these review videos, it's fine if you want to do that, but just understand that you're only watching, but somebody else achieved something that they wanted to do, and you're just a spectator. So kind of like having more respect around that.
Right. And, Scott was talking about Joey. I, out of morbid curiosity, watched most of a video he did critiquing a guy named Nick Walker. And he just released that video, I believe it was yesterday. Nick Walker is a super high level IFBB professional bodybuilder, up at the high, placed third in the Mr. Olympia this last year.
Wow.
Won the Arnold Classic, which is the second most prestigious show. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Nick Walker is healthy. I'm going to tell you that Nick Walker is sauced to the damn gills. He eats a horrible diet in terms of longevity and total health. But Nick Walker is also, that's the sport that he's in. And whether we like it or not, to achieve that level of success, and he's very successful, he's very wealthy now. He's get paid a lot of money by these supplement companies so he can, pop these pills on camera. I think Joey kind of missed the point with a lot of it. I'm like, why are you even covering this? It really makes no sense. If you're going to do that, then you have to go cover a boxer and a golfer and a football player and an MMA fighter and a plumber. I mean, why pick on this guy? It's
or be one of those people first.
Yeah, he has no idea what, insane work ethic people like that have. Yeah, it's not healthy. It's not long-term health. It's about, excelling. You can, I have talked to Tour de France level cyclists who are taking more steroids than your average, pro bodybuilder, cycles that would make a Mr. Olympia competitor blush, so stay in your lane, dude. I mean, stick with what you're doing. That's fine. But that one was so left field to me. I was like chuckling and scratching my head like, dude, where are you going with this? And what the hell's the point? But anyway, I just don't understand it. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely be a physique competitor, a bodybuilder, and do it in a healthy way. You're not going to be a top level, pro making millions of dollars, but you can do something that's worthwhile, that, you can say, hey, I did this. I had this amazing experience. You can tell your grandkids, and all the while live a very productive and healthy lifestyle. And I'm trying to be an advocate for that now.
And also, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the whole point of this community is not to be judgmental or to judge anyone. So anybody, no matter who you are, no matter where you're coming from, no matter what your goal is, even if it's not, because it sometimes does feel like there is some dogma and you have to be a certain way, but it's not like that. I mean, we're all so different, and everybody's goal is their own personal thing and their own personal journey. And we're just literally here to support people on whatever their goal is and get them there. And it doesn't have to be something that's my personal goal, but if it's personal to you and you want to do it, all the power to you. We will help you.
You guys are doing amazing work. Is there anything else that you think is really relevant that you want to share before we sign off here today?
I'm good. Scott?
Come on. No, not really. I just want people to like have hope. It's sad because I broke down. I'm going to release some interviews soon, but I did one with like Lady Carnivore yesterday, and I just broke down because right before the interview, I mean, I was going through a crazy detox as well, but right before the interview, I was checking my emails and in the Limbic training group, and I was getting all these emails, and people are like sharing their stories with me, just feeling like they had no hope, and it just made me really sad to think about. They're just like, I've tried everything, nothing's worked. I'm at my wit's end. I've been chronically ill for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, and I can't even imagine, I was having my own pity party, feeling sorry for myself for so many years. And I just want people to know that there is hope. It's not that you haven't tried everything, and you just have to keep going. There's no stopping. There's no retreat. There's no, there's no giving up ever. You just have to keep moving forward, and you will find a way. You'll find a way to overcome it. If carnivore didn't work for you, there's lots of other things you could try. And I'm not saying that this is going to be a fix-all for everybody, and I don't want to make any promises around that. Some people might not find it helpful for their condition at all. Who knows? But But it's worth a go. And like I said, it's free in March. So we really want everyone to come. Just try it out. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you, but give it a try and see what happens.
Give us the
And if you
website.
come to us and you don't have an answer, or we don't have an answer, or something is still not working, we will try and find you the answer. We'll find the right people. Like, this is kind of like the last place. You are going to heal here, and that's
Yeah.
it. We'll make it happen, or we'll do what we can.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
and you'll have our support, like that's the thing. Like you'll have people that actually care about you and want to try to help any way we can, right? So
What's the website one more time? I'll put it in the notes too, just so everybody goes there right now. What is it?
It's limbic-training.com.
Okay, outstanding. And there is hope out there, and you guys are providing it. So hats off to you guys. I think you're doing an invaluable service. I'm very honored and privileged to play a small part. And if there's anything I can do in the future to help support this project and what you guys are doing, please say the word. I am on board 100%.
Thank you, Rob. We really appreciate it. And we love that you're on board. You're such a great person. And, you're just amazing. So thank you for everything.
No,
Yeah.
thank you guys. The honor is mine. Okay, guys, go to
Thank
the
you.
website, check it out. It's free in March, correct?
Free in March.
March the 6th is when it kicks off. Good. So go there, get signed up. And after the fact, man, you guys are providing so much for so little money. It's amazing. Just well done, guys. Awesome job. All right. I'll let you guys get out of here. I know you got stuff to do. Thank you so much for being here. Can we do this again soon and kind of see how things are going and get some
Of course.
updates and keep spreading the word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Outstanding. Well, you guys go have a fantastic day. Keep doing important work. And I look forward to speaking with both of you again really, really soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, guys.